What if I told you that 85% of employees admit to wasting time at work every single day, and most of them don't think it's a problem? Welcome to one of the most overlooked conversations in business ethics. What do you actually owe your employer? Today we're breaking down the real obligations employees have in the workplace, not just the stuff in your job contract, but the deeper ethical duties that most people never think about. By the end of this video, you'll understand 5 key things: loyalty, confidentiality, honesty, avoiding conflicts of interest, and using company resources responsibly. These are the building blocks of being a truly ethical employee, and understanding them might just change how you show up at work tomorrow. Let's get into it. Section 1. The duty of loyalty. Here's a question most people don't ask themselves. When you take a job, what are you actually agreeing to? Sure, you agree to show up, do your tasks, and collect a paycheck. But underneath all of that is something more significant: a duty of loyalty. When an employer hires you, they're investing in you. They're paying your salary, training you, and trusting you to act in the company's best interest, not just your own. Loyalty doesn't mean blind obedience. It doesn't mean staying silent when your boss is doing something wrong. What it does mean is that you're expected to give your genuine effort, support the organization's legitimate goals, and avoid actions that sabotage or undermine the people and company that depend on you. Think about it this way. If a basketball player mentally checked out every game but still collected their paycheck, we'd all agree that's wrong. The same logic applies at work. But here's where it gets complicated. What happens when loyalty to your employer conflicts with loyalty to yourself, your family, or even society? That tension is exactly what we're going to unpack in the next section. Section 2. Confidentiality. Imagine you land a new job at a rival company. You're excited, fresh start, great opportunity. But you also happen to know your old employer's secret pricing strategy, their client list, and their product roadmap. Do you use that information to get ahead? Most people would say no, and ethically, they'd be right. This is where confidentiality comes in. Employees have a real obligation to protect sensitive information about their employer. This includes trade secrets, business strategies, financial data, customer information, and internal processes. The moment you walk into a company, you become a gatekeeper of information that belongs to that organization. Why does this matter? Because businesses are built on competitive advantage. If employees routinely leaked sensitive data, whether intentionally or carelessly, companies couldn't function. Trust would collapse, innovation would die. Nobody would take risks on new ideas if they knew those ideas would walk out the door with every departing employee. Now, confidentiality has limits. If an employer is asking you to keep secrets about something illegal or seriously harmful to the public, that changes the equation. But we'll get to that idea a bit later. First, let's talk about something that trips up a lot of employees: conflicts of interest. Section 3. Conflicts of interest. Here's a scenario. You work in purchasing for a large company, and your brother-in-law runs a small supply business. Your company needs new supplies, and your brother-in-law wants the contract. What do? This is a classic conflict of interest, when your personal relationships or financial interests interfere with your ability to make fair, unbiased decisions on behalf of your employer. Conflicts of interest are tricky because they don't always feel wrong in the moment. We want to help people we care about. We want to protect our own financial well-being. But when those personal interests start steering your professional decisions, you're no longer serving your employer fairly, and that's an ethical violation. The solution isn't always to remove yourself from every complicated situation. Sometimes it's as simple as being transparent, disclosing the conflict, and letting someone else make the call. Honesty, as it turns out, is the most powerful tool an ethical employee has. And speaking of honesty, that's exactly where we're going next. Section 4. Honesty in the workplace. Let's be real. Workplace dishonesty is everywhere. From padding an expense report by a few dollars, to calling in sick when you're not, to stretching the truth on a performance update. Most of us have seen it. Some of us have done it. But here's the thing. It matters more than we think. Employees have a genuine duty to be honest with their employers. This means accurately reporting your work, not misrepresenting your skills or progress, and communicating truthfully even when the truth is uncomfortable. Why is this such a big deal? Because organizations make decisions based on the information employees provide. If that information is distorted, bad decisions follow. Resources get misallocated, risks get overlooked, the entire foundation of trust that a workplace depends on starts to crumble. And here's the flip side. Honesty isn't just about avoiding lies. It's also about speaking up when something is wrong. If you see a safety hazard, a financial irregularity, or unethical behavior, staying silent makes you complicit. Ethical employees don't just avoid dishonesty, they actively support a culture of transparency. Now, this raises an important question. What if being honest means blowing the whistle on your own employer? That's a whole other level of ethical complexity, and it connects directly to our final section. Section 5. Responsible use of company resources. Let's end with something that feels small but adds up fast. Company resources, time, equipment, money, internet access, are provided by employers to help employees do their jobs. They are not personal property. Using the company printer for personal projects, browsing social media for hours during work time, taking office supplies home, these all seem minor. And individually, maybe they are. But ethically, they represent a misuse of something that wasn't given to you for that purpose. This connects back to something fundamental. When you take a job, you enter into an agreement. Your employer provides compensation, tools, and an environment to work in. You provide your honest time, effort, and skills. When you misuse company resources, you're breaking your side of that agreement, even if nobody ever finds out. The ethical standard isn't, will I get caught? The standard is, am I holding up my end of the deal? And that question, am I holding up my end of the deal, is really the heart of everything we've covered today. So let's bring it all together. Being an ethical employee means more than just showing up and doing the minimum. It means being loyal without being blind, protecting confidential information, avoiding conflicts of interest, being honest even when it's hard, and using company resources the way they were intended. These aren't just abstract principles. They're daily choices that define your professional character. If this video made you think differently about your own workplace behavior, drop a comment below. I'd love to know which of these 5 duties you think is the hardest to uphold in real life. And if you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe because we're breaking down more business ethics topics just like this one every week. Your next watch is already waiting.